say, you guys are doing a great thing. It's such an uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I could tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the broadcast. Is my mic working? I think it is.
Yeah.
Jesus, you know what it is? You know what's not working? My headset's not plugged in.
And you can hear me? That's a challenge.
Wait, it is plugged in.
That's interesting.
Check. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not loud enough in my headset. Guys, welcome. This is Old Man Talk with Spencer Kobren and Joe Tillman. Welcome to the broadcast. It is great to be here.
Old man and young.
Old man and less old man.
And less old man. I like that.
Yeah. But who's going to be able to tell who's who, by the way? I'm just saying.
Hey.
Look, you are 5 years my junior, so, enjoy your 50s while they last, brother. Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. This is the Hair Loss Show. We're obviously here to talk about anything and everything hair loss. I've been doing this broadcast, and Joe's been involved for well over a decade, but at least 15 years. I don't know how long.
15 years since I've been coming on the show. Well, 20 years plus since I've been coming on the show. I think 2005 was my first call-in.
Well, it's interesting that the fact that we're still doing this for you guys.
Interesting or sad?
We don't make any money doing this. This does not benefit my bottom line at all. You know what it does do? Sometimes doctors will contact me upset that they haven't been invited on the program. But if I didn't do this stupid show, that would never happen.
True. You ain't lying.
But you know what? I want to talk to you guys. I want to help you guys. Sadly, the vast majority of hair loss sufferers who are just getting involved in this space, not that they want to get involved. This is a fraternity that no one wants to belong to. They're lost, man. They're being misled by what's happening online. Everything is complete nonsense for the most part. Think about the last few weeks, the calls that we received the last few weeks. It might as well be back in 1998. That's
a pretty good time frame analogy, actually. Yeah, that's good.
But that's the reality of it. And Jesus, I got a frog in my throat. There's no difference, except there's that much more confusion. And also this concept, this new normal of hair transplant surgery is one size fits all, that all you have to do is go out and get surgery to fix this problem. Back in the day, you had to look for that information. You had to be really motivated to find this information. Once in a while, if you were up late, you would see a late night infomercial for a chain clinic. But in general, it wasn't being flooded into your life and in your face every moment of the day just because you happened to look up something about hair loss at one point in your life. Now everyone is able to, they open their phones, some of the first things they see is hair loss content, influencers who are going overseas to have hair transplants, and it is now being kind of embedded in their psyche that this is it. I'm losing my hair. This sucks. What's up with the hairline, bro? You got to fix the hairline, bro. And they rush into surgery, and I am telling you, it's not like, you know what, it's a 50-50 chance. Some of these young guys are going to be fine after their hair transplant. I can tell you with confidence, doing this for 30 years, I don't know if Joe is as confident. Did you see this? I just left this thing in my ear. I don't know if Joe is as confident as I am. But I can say with confidence based on my experience that any kid under the age of 25 who is flown overseas to have a 5,000 graft hair transplant procedure, if they were, less than a Norwood 3, and even at that point they're screwed, they have a zero chance, not 1%, 0.1%, 0.0101%, a zero chance of having a long-term positive experience or maintaining long-term results from that procedure. You can be doing fine on medication, but you are going to diminish. That is the nature of what we currently have to deal with. The younger you are, the more aggressive the transplant, the greater chance you are effed. And sadly, it's happening in a much shorter period of time than most of these kids could ever imagine. I don't know how you feel about that, Joe.
Well, that was, and I was trying to listen to everything you said. It's tough sometimes. But if it's a young guy,
look, you see what? I have no expression on my face about that because I don't give a shit what you think.
With, you said less than Norwood 3 loss?
No, more.
With more than Norwood 3 loss. So if a Norwood 4 goes to Turkey and he's how old?
Oh my God, you're going to dissect this? This is a back and forth conversation.
23, 24, 25?
Under 25 who has
chance.
Who has aggressive hair loss has zero chance of having a positive long-term result. At least what they think they see online. Period. End of subject.
Yeah, no, I disagree.
Tell me what your thoughts are, Joseph.
Well, if that person has the wherewithal to actually get on medication first and they react positively to it, and they go and they have a sensible surgery with a sensible clinic.
Sensible, that's different. I'm not talking.
You didn't say that. You
yes,
just said fly into Turkey.
No.
You just said fly into Turkey.
All right. I said large cases, 5,000 grafts or more.
Okay.
People in the chat room, tell Joe he never listens.
Well, I told you I tried to listen to everything. So okay, I thought you said something. I remember 5,000. Okay, so if they have 5,000 grafts, there's zero chance.
Hold on, let me fix this. Can I just fix this?
I think you did it on purpose.
Okay.
There'll be a long-term result that can be maintained, even if they're on medication that's working well for them. Zero chance.
I would
not
say
0.1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
at least what they're thinking of. Don't you understand, Joseph? They think they're going to get a full head of hair for the rest of their lives. They have no idea that transplant will diminish and most likely relatively quickly, even on, if they're the best responders to medication. The hair above and below that donor will still slowly change. It may take 5 years. It may take 10 years. In the best case scenario, it's going to change. And for you to sit there as a 30-time hair transplant patient and disagree is actually a little surprising. And I have to say...
okay. All right. Hold on. You're utilizing the number of surgeries I've had as if it's a situation where every surgery I had was necessary. I've been over this multiple times. That's not the case. That doesn't apply. But when you discount every person that goes over there,
somebody call in, someone in the chat room, tell Joe.
There are some cases where it does work out.
He's got to loosen up as far as like me saying that he's had 30 transplants. I understand they weren't all absolutely necessary. Mm-hmm. I'm totally on board with that. I've known this guy for a very long time, but for whatever reason, he still can't filter that into his reality. I don't know what it is.
I'm just saying that I think there are some where it probably works out to their benefit. Will they eventually diminish? Good chance of it. I personally can't throw a blanket on every person that goes over under those conditions will wind up being a failure, 5 years later, 10 years later. I can't say that in good conscience. A lot of them will be, probably the majority of them. But there are some, and here's the thing. It all comes back down to that perspective, that the understanding of what the outcome is. Like, are they going for a full head of hair and expecting a full head of hair? If they're expecting a full head of hair, then like it's a failure from the start. But if they've had some modicum of education and they've done some research and they realize, it's not going to be completely full, but I want it to look good, and they get one of these big sessions, which I'm not a fan of. I'm just saying, it's possible where it could work out.
I'm fine with this debate. and I think it's intriguing and interesting, and I think it's good for our listeners and our callers to understand this. But you keep throwing in all of the nuances that a well-informed patient.
You didn't disqualify that to begin with. If it was some kid that doesn't know, okay, let's go down this rabbit hole. Even if they know shit, don't know anything, it could still turn out lucky. Odds are,
all right. I'm going to concede and say that's within the realm of possibility. But I'm speaking from my vast experience. I'm not saying you have any less experience than me. You actually have more experience as far as certain aspects of this industry are concerned, or at least being in the trenches in an office day in and day out, seeing all these patients. But I will tell you this. I can guarantee that almost every patient that walked through your doors now has less hair. And some of your highlighted patients back in the day have significantly less hair.
I agree. And what's funny is I was actually talking to a longtime patient from 20 years ago. We became Facebook friends years ago. But before I ever actually decided I don't want to be Facebook friends with my patients. And he was telling me 20 years on, he can't, like, his barbers are still remarking about his results. They all know he's very open about it. And he was telling me about another patient that I've not heard from in 20 years that was fairly well known back in the day on quote unquote the forums. This is the real kicker.
Fucking forums.
He had a big fucking forums. He had a big surgery one time, no medication, and according to this patient, he still looks great and is completely happy with everything. 20 years later, Norwood 4A, if I remember correctly. Biscuit was his name on the old fabled hair loss.
How many strips did he have?
One.
How powerful? How many grafts, like really serious grafts, did he have moved? That's the whole point.
It's because he had the strip. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
One solid strip.
A solid strip changes everything. Mm-hmm. These young idiots, or I should say misguided people, sadly, they're not all idiots.
No.
Believe that they could have their entire scalp, back of their heads and sides of their head, moved to the front and top.
I've had people ask for that. Yeah. They want a mohawk.
Or they can have 8,000 or 9,000 grafts moved, even if it's in 2 or 3 sessions, all via FUE, and be completely fine.
And their doctor encouraging no medication.
Right. I'm trying to save lives here, Joe. That's what I'm trying to do. If you're going to interfere with that aspect of what I do, please turn off your camera.
Hey, it's all about proper education.
Graham, call in. Anyway, phone number is 888-659-3727. No, you know what? I think it's fair to say that Joe is not incorrect, obviously. I mean, he throws in all of the different variables that I kind of try to remove, but whatever. I do think that he is trying to be as fair as possible, especially for those people who have already made the mistake. And now there's nothing they can do about it. I'm at a point now where I've been very nice to all the people who've made these, hasty moves, these knee-jerk decisions. Mm-hmm. I've gotten crap from them, especially on Instagram anyway, just for telling the truth. All of these people with confirmation bias who've had these surgeries, and if you actually look at them, they make fun of my hairline. Like I'm jealous. I'm like, look, brother, if I really wanted to get a transplant, I can do it. That's it. It's not an issue for me. But I'd prefer not to walk around with a hairline 3 inches above my eyebrows and think that that's realistic and a reasonable state-of-the-art hair transplant surgery. You can make fun of me all you want. You already made that decision. Let other people who are online at least get the information they need to make a more informed decision. And understand, hair transplant surgery could be relatively permanent, but everything has to be done staged out perfectly.
Well, you know why they're attacking you for speaking the truth. It's because you're not affirming their decision.
Yeah.
That they already don't feel 100% about. So of course they're going to lash out. I mean, it's just the way it is. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like they make fun of your hairline. They really make fun of my hairline because I had a choice in the matter. I could have gone lower. It's like,
yeah, I'm
maintaining.
I'm a little different than you. I always try to raise you up. So I will say that you have one of the best placed hairlines in the industry. That's just the way that it is. It's perfect for your face, totally age appropriate. You're like 55, 54, whatever old you are right now.
56.
To me, it looks youthful for your stage in life. So
I am.
I don't know why it's a problem.
Thank you. You know, what's funny is, like, I was one of the first to coin the term hair addiction 20 some odd years ago. I can't say I was the first, but I was one of the first. And I talked about it because I was going through those stages. You know, I had the first one. Well, that turned out great. The second one, blah, 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 blah. 25 years later, 24 years later, I'm sitting in Dr. Wong's office and I'm saying, we've done everything so far. Why not lower it? And he actually put on his spectacles or his loops and started looking around, looking at what would be possible. And he goes, no, you don't have enough hair. Like, fuck.
There you go.
Fuck. Done. Now, I do think he was maybe thinking FUE, and I didn't ask him. It still lacks. Can we go back in? No, I'm good. Every once in a while, I get that desire for more. Hence why I'm doing the oral minoxidil now and suffering greatly for it.
Well, why don't you talk about that a little bit while I try to embed this into, I'm having a problem with my embed here.
Well, yeah, so this is one of the unannounced updates talking about on the show today. There is a main subject I want to talk about, which is kind of interesting. We'll see how that works out, but I did want to update you guys on my minoxidil usage. So just a quick recap. Back in middle of November, it's now 3 months. November, December, 3 months. I was at Dr. Wong's office with a friend of mine who's having surgery, and we decided to pull the trigger on oral minoxidil, and he prescribed it to me at 2.5 milligram tablet. And I hemmed and hawed for another 2 weeks. I didn't pull the trigger. Like I went and got the script immediately, but it sat in my cupboard for about 2 weeks while I thought about it. And finally took it. And at first, no issues. And
big mistake.
I titrated in. I didn't start the full pill. I did a half pill, 1.25, and I did that, if I remember correctly, every other day for a week or a few weeks, and then eventually got to the point where it was a full 1.25 daily, and then I started to do a full 2.5, and that's where the problem started. And I started getting really bad, relatively speaking, rashes under my beard where it was flaking. It felt like it was burning. Like it was a fairly severe reaction. A couple times walking the dog, I felt a little bit anxious, a little bit what's going on, little pressure in not pressure in my chest, but just overall a feeling of anxiousness out of nowhere for no reason.
Welcome to my world.
And I cut back to 1.25, and that seemed to alleviate the issue. But I would have occasional mild recurrence of the rash issue, the skin issue under my beard. I pushed through. I think I talked about it in the last week's show or the show before. I'm pushing through, and my esteemed colleague here suggested maybe even going even more of a micro dose, like a quarter tablet. I said, nope, I'm pushing through. Well, here's the latest development. And I wasn't expecting this. I'm talking to my wife, and she looks at me, and she goes, what's on your eyelid? I'm like, what do you mean? And she's looking at me, and my eyelids were flaking.
Really?
My fucking eyelids were peeling. Yes, I said it. My eyelids were peeling. What in the actual fuck?
A little moisturizer might help, you know?
No, it wasn't about moisturizer. It was like I was really, I mean, who's heard of this one? I've not heard of this.
That's
Have any of you out there heard of this? What?
That's a new one. Is it possible that you're just connecting the two? You're on this new medication. You've had adverse side effects. You've had some skin issues. Now
it's all here.
Yeah, but now your eyelids are peeling, but not itching, right?
There was a very mild.
Was it mild after your wife said, "What the fuck is wrong with your eyelids"?
No, I was doing this number. I'd actually take off my glasses. I just kind of wipe like this, just because it was. I don't want to scratch, but I just use the pad of my finger. I just kind of alleviate the itchy feeling by rubbing it. And then she's like, "What's going on with your eyelid?" And it wasn't just the eyelid; it was the area below the eyebrow as well. Like I can actually feel it right here. It's still doing it. And it wasn't just a couple of small flakes. It was like obviously something was going on, some sort of reaction happening. So I've not taken it for the past 2 days just because I'm done.
Okay.
I'll restart tonight.
So Joe Tillman,
tablet.
he tapped out of oral minoxidil.
No, I'm not tapping out yet. I got to find the balance. Just like I tell all of you guys, try to find the balance with, between effectiveness and side effects.
Of all people, Tillman taps out.
Yeah, right. But it's like, really? Peeling eyelids? Like, of all the things, it's like,
look,
give me something else. But
Mr.
that's
Rolandis in the chat doesn't believe you. He thinks it's all psychosomatic.
He's welcome to his opinion.
Or you're just equating it to the fact that you're on this medication. And all of a sudden you have this new physical issue, and it has to be the meds.
Well, what I think it's from is from a general drying of my skin that also seems to be like it's all new. Like I'm 56 years old. I've never had any of this shit before. I've never had this major, like it was.
I'm going to agree with you that I would say that I would certainly make that correlation. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I'm just giving you shit. But let me ask you, during this time, you said that I suggested certain things. Your colleague made the suggestion to take or lower your dosage. But I think I also suggested, which no one listens to me for some reason, that you need to up your hydration. You need to up your salt intake to some degree while lowering your carbs so that you are hydrated. You're going to be losing a lot of potassium and a lot of sodium if you really go down to almost no carbs. That's going to help you mitigate any of the periorbital edema, facial edema, potential pericardial effusion. And it's possible that it could really help with any, dermatological issues that you're dealing with, including overall drying of your skin. Did you make any of those changes?
I have significantly upped my H2O intake, where I have a 2-liter bottle next to my bed. I have a 2-liter bottle on my work desk, and they're always being refilled. I'm drinking a lot of water.
No, but are you retaining that water in a positive? Or is your body just flushing out because you're drinking so much water?
I actually think there is a bit of retaining, and the reason for that is because I've noticed I have cut back down to with my nutrition intake. I'm not I'm not even snacking at night anymore. I have 2 soft-boiled eggs in the morning for breakfast, and then I have a sensible-sized lunch.
That's so gay, not in a homosexual way.
Yeah.
We use the
It's
word
not-
differently as men from Generation X. But go ahead.
It's not gay, it's gay.
Yeah.
G-H-E-Y, as they say in Scotland. But and I'm not hungry. Like I'm eating nicely, and they're good size. It's a good sized meal. My wife is usually cooking the lunch, and it's good solid quality stuff. I'm not losing weight. I'm actually heavier now than I was 3 months ago, by 10 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. Remember we were talking about this. I'd lost some weight. As of today, it's 10 pounds. Yesterday it was 11 pounds. Like it's fluctuating about a pound or 2.
I thought you said you gained weight.
I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've gained as of today 10 pounds.
How often are you drinking? Guys, hold on. We'll take your calls in a second.
Alcohol?
Yeah, not what. But what does drinking mean?
I'm just making sure.
How often are you drinking?
As of last night, 0. But before that, a glass of wine a night.
Okay. It's a bad move, brother.
So
That's a bad move. You cannot drink wine every night, first of all, especially when you're
Well,
on
I'm
this
not now.
medication.
I'm not now.
Especially when you're on this medication. And that is even one glass, which I know, I don't believe it's one glass. I'm just saying, I know you.
You can't.
You know me. You know me.
No, then you should know I am actually I was doing 1 glass a night.
Was it one glass or was it like a goblet?
A goblet.
Was it like a Tillman pour or like a real glass of wine, which is like less than 5 ounces?
A Tillman circa 94 bartending days pour, or
Yeah.
it was a normal glass, because my wife was giving me a hard time about it. So
Okay. Well, I can tell you just by stopping that daily habit, there's a possibility that whatever water retention you're dealing with, plus lowering your carbs, is going to dissipate.
we shall see. I'm holding steady on this routine and schedule now. I will start back tonight on the oral minoxidil with a quarter tab, 0.75.
I really need to get to the barber, man. Sorry. I just looked at myself and I'm like, I look like underdog with these sides. What the fuck is going on?
Let me see.
Look how long. I mean, if I pull it down, it goes way below my ear now. I have not cut my hair in a few weeks.
Still looks good.
I appreciate that. For those of you who don't think it grows, it does. Anyway, 888-659.
It does.
Yeah, it does. 659-3727. Let's take a phone call. Let's see who this is. Hey, you are on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello, man. Yeah, my name is Chris. I'm in Scotland. How are you doing?
Hey, Chris from Scotland. What's going on, brother?
Yeah. Well, it's not what's going on. It's what goes off. You know, my hair's falling out. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, that's what we're talking about. So what's going on besides your hair falling out?
Oh, mate, I could give you my life story, but I don't think the listeners would really appreciate it at all.
Well, if your life story is funny and interesting, sure. If it's sad and a little funny, that's okay too.
No, it's not sad. It's not sad. I quite like my life story. I'm good with it. I do have a wee bit of a hair loss problem. As middle-aged men.
Well, let's start with this. And give me your name again. I'm sorry.
Chris.
Chris. First of all, tell us how old you are, and then you can go into how long you've been dealing with hair loss.
Right. I am 49. I'm going to be turning 50 this year. That's rather depressingly. And
Dude, I'm going to be 61 in 3 months, all right? It's not a big deal. Go ahead.
No, 50.
No, I'm going to be 61. You're going to be 50.
Well, you're going to be 61. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes me feel so much better.
It should.
It really does. No, I don't mean to be. I don't mean to insult you, sir.
I'm not insulted.
I really. Okay.
I'm trying to make you feel better.
Okay, yeah.
You're not trying hard enough.
Okay, you are actually doing a very good job of doing that. Okay, that's cool. I am actually going to be 50 later on this year in July. Basically, I'm getting a bit thinner on the top. I've been looking online. There's these olive oils mixed with cloves and cinnamon and rosemary that I should rub into my scalp. Apparently, it's going to make you. Apparently, that's going to make you grow hair out of other places that you've never even grown hair.
Has anybody ever told you sound a little like the late great Ozzy Osbourne?
No, you're the first.
Yeah, well, you do. So go ahead. So you are looking at all of the typical, just homebrew, wives' tale solutions to hair loss currently.
Okay. I don't know if that's an insult or a compliment. Yeah, I don't know which it is.
It's not an insult or a compliment. It's just it is what it is. We've all been there.
Right. Okay. Well, I've never been there when I was Osbourne. Okay. Well, that's very nice of you to actually say that because the guy is an absolute fucking legend.
100%, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm neither. I am not. I'm not Ozzy Osbourne. If you're trying to work out my accent, it's from Scotland. It's a mixture of Crieff, Perthshire, Stornoway, Gaelic, of fucking Shetland, Orkney.
Dude, it's great. We love it. I'm sitting here in Los Angeles speaking to somebody in Scotland. It's amazing to me.
Oh, you're in LA.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
Are you in LA or are you in Vancouver?
I'm in Vancouver. He's in LA.
And I'm in LA. Two different people.
And you're in Scotland.
Sorry, how many people am I talking to right now?
Currently talking to two people.
Have
you
watched the show?
No, I haven't. This is my first time.
Where are you watching us? How are you watching us? How do you find us?
My friend actually put me onto this. I've never heard of you before today.
Okay, well, I'll tell you who we are real brief. I'm Spencer Kobren. I founded the American Hair Loss Association, wrote a couple of well-known books on the subject, and the guy who is in Vancouver, I'm the guy in Los Angeles, is Joe Tillman. He's the original hair transplant mentor. He's been in this industry for forever, and we're just here to provide you with, the truth about this industry.
Right. Okay. So shall we get back to the hair transplant industry? So
I want to ask you one question, Chris, before we do continue. Who was your friend that referred you to us?
No, I'm sorry. He does not want to. He does not want me to say his name.
Fair enough. Okay. As you were, continue.
Okay. Right. I'm in my 40s now. In fact, this year I'm going to turn 50. Yeehaw!
Mm-hmm.
My hair's thinning out on top. I think it's probably going to give it a bit of a shiny cap. Probably before the year's end. I've used rosemary oil. I've used cloves. Philip olive oil. Yeah, I've used that shit as well. Yeah, I've infused it, cloves and rosemary, and I've rubbed it into my scalp. Guess what?
What?
I'm still bald.
Yeah.
I'm bald.
That's the way it works.
I don't like it.
Do you happen to know Dr. John Cole by chance?
Sorry, who?
Have you guys ever hung out?
Who?
I guess you haven't heard of him. So listen, go ahead, finish your story, and then we can give you any advice you
I was
need.
going on about that. Fill up a barrel, olive oil. Yeah, I got past that bit, didn't I? At the end of the day, I've pretty much got to my wit's end. As far as baldness goes, I've got a shiny head, and well, the good news is that I don't have to go to the barber very often.
That's a good thing.
That's great news. So let me ask you a question. Do you want to help yourself here? Are you interested in dealing with your hair loss or treating it, or do you feel good just shaving your head?
I'm not shaking my head right now. No. I mean, if you've got some sort of advice that's going to make my hair grow, then yeah, let's hear it.
Here's the advice. You need to see a doctor. This is a medical condition. It's not something that can be treated with, all these lotions and potions that you read about online, or rosemary oil, or any of that happy horse shit. Unfortunately, I wish it could. The only way to slow the progression or stop it and maybe regrow some hair is with prescription medication.
Okay. Right. Okay. I'm kind of tuning out at the moment, because of what you've said. Because recently I've actually been really tuning out of what doctors have actually said to me. I'll tell you the reason why. I've started taking pills for this, that, and the other. I'm not going to go into details, certainly not online, about what I've been taking. But I've been taking them for around about 20-odd years. I think the pills just treat the symptoms. They don't actually cure the problem.
I would say that I don't disagree with you with a lot of medications and for different issues. But when it comes to this genetic, if it is androgenetic alopecia, this genetic condition, the only way to treat the problem or the root cause, which is, for the most part, a hormone called dihydrotestosterone. And there's also other inflammatory.
Dihydrotestosterone.
Right. Also, there's other inflammatory aspects to androgenetic alopecia or male pattern baldness, which sounds like what you're experiencing. But you still need to get checked out to make sure. You need medication in order to stop it or reverse it. There is nothing else out there that will. I mean, listen, there's other ancillary things that you can do. There are some natural things that you could try. But the reality is, if you really want to treat this for the long term, you need medication. That's just, we don't sell anything.
Okay.
We're not promoting anything specifically. We're just here to tell you the truth.
Hydrotestosterone. Okay, yeah, I've got that written down now. Okay, one more question. My girlfriend, she really doesn't like the fact that I've got a really hairy ass.
All right, there you go.
Here it comes.
But you know what? It was fun for a while. And he sounded legitimately drunk.
He did a good one. And I was actually going to chime in and say he sounds a little bit more like Dudley Moore circa 1984 Arthur.
That's true.
Remember, get that reference.
I do get that reference. I'm reading the chat. And I don't mind a good troll, and I don't mind a good, fake phone call. And actually, that could be cut into a good clip for Instagram. So
the big tell on that one was when I asked who referred him, and without blinking, he said he doesn't want to be named. That's not something he would normally know without asking the guy.
Absolutely. No, but I appreciate calls like that because, like I said, I'm looking for clips now. I'm going to start putting more stuff out. I took about a 6-week hiatus from short form content or putting stuff on Instagram, and people are angry. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I can't take a fucking break. And I know guys who are in the influencer business, they're afraid to take a break. They have to keep churning shit out, otherwise they lose relevance. I get that. But, I'm going to be 61 years old. I put up stuff for fun, and all of a sudden it exploded. It just blew up. And now I'm being pressured to put stuff on there.
And now you're pressured, exactly.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, phone number 888-659-3727. But I will be putting up more content. I actually created a whole bunch of content that is almost ready to roll. And I'm not going to talk about the YouTube channel because it somehow bothers Joe. But I am working on that. I have created some content for that. And like I said, I joke around. I joke. I'm being honest about my age. What am I going to do? But I do think that at this stage in my life, I could have more fun with this. And as long as I don't concentrate on the...
How dare you?
I don't concentrate on the bullshit that comes with it. And that means
dare you?
The online trolling, the negativity, all that stuff. I've stepped away from that for so long. That's why you basically closed the forum 12 years ago, 15. I forgot how long ago. It still operates. Doctors still think that it's, I have people that apply to the organization who basically apply to be part of the forum. I'm like, we should basically.
They only knew.
It's only been up, hanging out there. Yeah, people read it, but we have not been even, what's it called? Monitoring it, in years. I actually wrote every doctor that was shutting this thing down. And there's still guys that are posting.
And they're still posting, yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. So listen, it's up there. People are reading it great. But I'm like, I don't want to be part of this forum business. This is a disgusting, ridiculous part of this field. And in my view, the forums in general have misled so many people and have harmed so many people. Well, listen, there's some benefits to them.
Of course.
But we know the reality of how these message forums are operated, how they are run, how they are manipulated. I didn't want to be part of it. To have to keep cleaning it up and have moderators in there having to clean it up and argue with people, and then people, making all kinds of threats against, trying to extort doctors on your forum and all. I didn't want any fucking part of it.
Yeah.
But we did have the number one forum for quite a long time, which surprised the shit out of some of the old school forum people. So that was fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't blame you for letting it run away.
I spent some money to upgrade it because you and I discussed doing it. And then after it was upgraded, we changed a lot. I'm just like, I don't even know. You know what? That's money well spent. It made me think about getting back involved with it. I was like, This is such bullshit. This is such a potentially dangerous place for people. The fact that we would have to have a full-time moderator again to deal with it and to try to help guide people in a safe direction is something I didn't want to do. And then to kind of create some sort of bullshit like, first of all, we never had doctors sponsoring it. And I think that's key. Yes, members of the IHRS were able to post, but there was no sponsorship for this thing. So it was just 100% on my dime. And I never saw any value in it, even though there was a lot of doctors who wanted it because they were concerned about being extorted on other forums and they wanted another place, and I provided it for them. I was just like, fuck this, man. I don't want to deal with it. So here's the key, people. Stay off the forums. I just spit on my mic. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
It's James from the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. How are you guys?
James, what's going on?
Hey, James.
Long time no speak.
It hasn't been that. It's maybe 3 weeks.
It's been a while. I mean, listen,
Joe,
we have very few super articulate people calling in, so welcome.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
Appreciate that. Back at you. Hey, Joe, quick question. I really appreciate your transparency on the oral minoxidil and the updates. I had the same problem at 1.25. It just hit me wrong. But
Or your eyelids
What
peeling.
are your thoughts on? Are you on name brand Lonitin? Because
Yeah.
you know, all three of us are name brand whores, right? I mean, we love the name brand.
We're brand whores. Yeah, it's Lonitin. It is available in Canada.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. In fact,
Yeah,
it's
that
like the
was my
standard.
question.
There's really no. I was shocked because when I went to pick up my script for the first time, I was walking out of the pharmacy and I was like, oh wait, you know what?
I remember you questioned it though. You had some questions on that though.
I questioned it at the start and I was like, and I looked at it and was like, Lonitin? Hold on a second. And I went back to the pharmacist. I'm like, hang on. You mean this is actual Lonitin, like the original? Yes, it is. No generic. No, that's not really. No, everyone gets Lonitin. Like generic minoxidil just isn't really a thing unless you have it compounded into something else, or unless you go to Costco and get the Kirkland brand, because that's generic.
Yeah, I tried to get name brand Lonitin, but it only comes in 10 milligram pills here in the States.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I was surprised.
Have you considered the two reputable name brand, the reputable generics, Par and Accord?
No, because the original is the original, and I'm looking for efficacy above and beyond, and that's the standard. So, I mean, it's the whole point of being a brand whore is sticking with the baseline original, because that's the standard that everything else is based on, trying to emulate. So yeah, no consideration of generics. And if this doesn't work out, I still won't consider generic, because God knows what sides I could have from those, if there's any sort of meaningful difference. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. I'll titrate down, like I'll suffer if I can't find a balance for my intake and modify my nutrition style and everything else to compensate. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like, I'm perfectly willing and able to accept that.
James, I told him not to drink from the beginning, and he didn't listen to me, by the way.
Well, hey, Mr. Alcoholic, don't drink, okay? All right.
That's true. I forgot you have a problem.
Yeah, that's a good point, Spencer. Do you think that the alcohol had anything to do with it in any way?
You know, I obviously I don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not a physician, but I will say that just kind of dampening your immunity and lowering your guard for, like, if you're constantly drinking, it affects your sleep. It affects how drugs are metabolized in your body. It affects
I sleep fine. Like, when you get to the point of being just that drunk, you sleep great. I'm just kidding.
I get it.
You're not getting the reparative sleep, though. You're not getting deep sleep. That's the problem.
Of course not.
I stopped drinking.
You're not getting REM sleep. Your REM sleep. You're screwing up your HRV. You're screwing up everything.
Yep.
Listen, I love drinking. I love drinking, but I can't drink. I drink maybe twice or three times a year now.
I'm in the same boat. I miss it. I love it. But the next morning, and this happened probably around 55 years old. I'm 58 now.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any easier. But when I did take the generic 1.25, I felt like I was drinking the night before. That's how I felt. I mean, it really dehydrates you. And that could be causing the flaking in your skin, is this dehydration as well.
Could be, yeah. I've thought of that. And that's what I was saying earlier. I'm keeping more water around me for consumption than usual. I used to drink like before I was doing this. I still drink a lot of water, and then I slacked off because it's kind of a hassle. Always trying to make sure your water bottle is full.
No, it is. No, but if you, it would be interesting if you drank 2 liters a day, and I know that's a lot, 2 liters a day. If that would make a difference, because right now you've been 2 days off of 2.5, or did you titrate back to 1.25?
1.25, yeah.
So where are you going to draw the line? Are you just taking 2 days off? You're going to go back to 1.25, and what are you going to do?
No, I'm going to go back tonight to, and I'm going to start with a quarter tab, 0.75, or is that right? 0.75? No, whatever it is, 1.25 and a
You
half.
gonna make me do math for you, Joe?
No, it doesn't matter. I'll be taking a quarter pill, whatever that works out to me.
So you're technically titrating down just to find a balance, or are you trying to reduce shedding?
Yes and yes. No, of course I don't want to shed, but I'm not coming off of it yet. I'm like I was saying earlier. I'm going to push through. I'm going to continue to try to find the balance, and I'm going to. Like last night, I actually stopped drinking. I told my wife, I was like, "Don't offer me anything. I'm cutting this out for a while. Let's see how this works because I need to be serious about really finding the balance with this because it was starting to concern me.
So you're doing the process of elimination,
when your fucking eyelids are peeling, it's time to take notice and make some changes. So, last night, no drinks. Today, start back in with the low carb. Like I've always been fairly low carb, but my wife is, mail order bride from Russia. So she likes the carbs. Like you can't have a meal without carbs.
Well, you sent me some images of her cooking and I have to say I would be huge.
It's her cooking is amazing, by the way. She made a dish today, blew my mind. But anyway, it was a salad of, she made for me. This is how supportive my wife is. She's like, okay, you're not just having the protein, you got to have something. So she made a tomato and cucumber salad with yogurt mixed in and salt and pepper. It's like really nice. So yeah, and I'm back to that with no snacking tonight, no dinner, no snacking. I'll have water, and I'm going to push through and try this. See if being more hardcore with my nutrition style, like I used to be, will help with that and maintain my H2O intake and see how that works out to where maybe I can, what do? Do I hold steady at a quarter pill or do I move back up to half a pill? We'll see. We'll see how I feel.
Are you taking it in the morning or are you taking it at night?
Night.
Maybe consider the morning because at night we kind of we kind of dehydration at night, right? So
and also your body
that's
slows
the
down.
Yeah, right? It could be. I'm willing to try anything. It's just I need to whatever I'm trying. I don't want to make multiple changes at once because then I don't know what the hell's working. If it does work out, So
and you had anxiety. You had anxiety. You just had anxiety walking the dog, is what you said. It's something it wasn't heart palpitations. It was just anxiety.
Feeling a bit anxious and feeling overall pressure, like physical pressure. Not in my left arm or anything like that, but like in my trunk. I guess in my trunk, I was feeling a bit of pressure.
Is it your left arm or your right arm when you have a heart attack? It's your right arm, isn't it?
Left.
James, you know this?
I just appreciate you talking about. I appreciate you talking about this more than most people do. I don't think people understand the risk with this drug, on top of, obviously the fear of beginning to take it and going through the dread shed and all that. I mean, it's more than meets the eye, I think.
Yeah.
The fact that you're on name brand and having these problems is concerning. I have not heard of any of these issues. There was a doctor that does hair transplants that had the facial rash. Did you see his videos? I think you interviewed him one time. He works with another doctor that's been in the field for a while. Got curly hair, and he does
I interviewed
some
or
YouTube
Spencer did?
Stuff. I think you did a while ago, but he had some facial rash, some redness on his face, and he had to quit. He had phenomenal results, and he was just, I can't remember his name.
I don't know. I don't remember.
He looks like Dr. Ted. He's got that look, right? He looks like Dr. Ted Mellon, I think his name was. I can't remember.
Dr. Ross?
I think so. I'll have to look it up and I don't remember let you know. But he
is that on the air now?
Rash.
Did he post that on his Instagram? Because
many times he just says I had to quit. He had these.
The interview where he and I are talking, did he post it on his Instagram?
No, he had it on YouTube, but you weren't on the YouTube one. You weren't on the YouTube one.
Okay. I was going to say because he interviewed me, and it's not aired yet, and I don't know why. Like it was like 5 months ago or 6 months ago.
Yeah, this was about a year ago. This was about a year ago.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not aware of that.
But he had some facial rash, but he wasn't peeling.
But and thank you for like the comment about me sharing. I wish I had this format when I was starting with finasteride and then with dutasteride. I did talk about it a bit on the forums back in the day.
Well, I took dutasteride, and last week you guys talked about dutasteride, but you had a personal side effect that you weren't willing to talk to the viewers about. But I'll be open with mine. I mean, I lost sensitivity downstairs, right?
Oh, really?
So I was less sensitive. I was not. Yeah. I could not. I mean, it literally was like my sex drive was there, but it could not. There was loss of hardness. I mean, we're talking 75, 80%, right? It's about 20% reduction in the firmness, right? And also, semen's watery, right? Dutasteride really immediately was just like, I mean,
those two are common
going on, right?
Yeah, those are the more common of the reported sexual side effects. When I started finasteride, Proscar for the first time, and in subsequent periods where I had to stop for whatever reason and I'd restart, maybe a week or two later, usually because I would forget to fill my prescription, I would notice that androgenic effect, like people would talk about when they're in the gym. Like they feel stronger. Mm-hmm. Sex drive is actually higher. And that seemed to maintain for a while. And then it would come back to what seemed to be baseline. And it was like, I don't feel different one or the other. And I just live like, normal like that. With dutasteride, when I tried that in 2005 or 6 for the first time, and I stayed on it for 2 years, I think it was 2004 I started. And it was like all the rage. Like everyone was talking about dutasteride. It was the new thing. And the clinic where I was working at the time, Hassan Wong, were basically the first and most well-known prescriber of dutasteride. People were calling us or coming in just to get a prescription for dutasteride. It was weird. I decided to try it because I saw plenty of patients having increased benefits above and beyond their finasteride use. It didn't change my hair in the least. It did, and again, this is, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's from something else, but nothing else I'm aware of my routine changed. It made me, I reacted the way I feared I'd react with minoxidil, which is bloating. I was bigger. My face was rounder. And I only noticed it after the fact when I switched away from it and I was looking at old videos of myself and then current videos of myself. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell happened? Like, where did this come from? And then where did it go? And nothing in my life had changed. I was eating the same shit food for lunch. Like it was usually like some sort of big deli sandwich with processed meat and all that. This is way before I got tuned into how to eat better. And that was the only thing that changed. Like I was still eating the same crappy food. I was still, having beers with the guys after work or, whatever, pizza, like the whole 9 yards. Nothing changed. Nothing. And that's the only thing I can say caused that. Is it accurate? I have no idea, but it makes sense. I wish I could have documented that in real time. I wish I could have, because if I was on camera every week like I am now, one of you guys would say something like, Joe, you're looking pretty plump,
And this was on Avodart?
Yeah. Yeah.
How long were you on it?
2 years. And it made no difference for my hair.
Yeah, it's funny. I did Dutasteride. I did Avodart for 2 years as well. But I really think I really think that drug is such a last resort. It's nuking 90% of your DHT.
Let me just interrupt by saying, Joe, by the way, back in the day when this was happening to you, we used to call you bloated Tillman.
I was waiting for something.
Yeah.
Fat boy Joe. Thank you very much. Thank you.
How close do you think? Okay, so Joe, obviously the Avodart, there's other personal side effects you have that wasn't it, right? There's even other stuff on top of that, correct? That you're not talking about.
I'm sorry. What my
when you were on Dutasteride, I think last week you said Spencer wanted to know details, and you weren't willing to share that. That wasn't it, right?
No. This is something that happened that it was completely out of left field. It was almost immediate, and when I say immediate, I mean same day. And I took it maybe 3 more days, and it actually intensified. And then about 3 days after I stopped taking it, it disappeared. And then I tried it again.
So I tried it again 2 weeks later. So to be clear, it wasn't a sexual side effects, which most people experience, right? It wasn't a sexual side effect.
Correct. No.
Okay. Physiological, psychological.
It was physical, but it wasn't sexual.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know for a fact it had to have been that, because when you went off it 3 days later, it went away.
Yep. And then I tried, and then I jumped on it again 2 weeks after that, and it came back.
You did an interview. Spencer interviewed the hair loss guy that's a chemist. He's got like the Elvis hair.
The hair
him around in a while.
Chemist. Yeah.
The hair chemist guy had a similar reaction, but he had problems with his pelvic floor, he said. He's taken down some of his videos on how great Dutasteride was because he doesn't want to mislead people. Spencer had a great interview with him maybe 8 months ago, a year ago. But, it's interesting that these people that are well educated in this industry have a problem with Dutasteride, and it's just not talked about. I talked to a kid at the gym last night, 23 years old, great hair, got him on name brand Propecia. He's happier than ever. Went through a shed, and he wants to go to Dutasteride, and I'm like, dude, don't even touch it. You got 30 years. I've been on this shit for 30 years, and I'm just thinking maybe having, the frontal third thickened up, because I think my hair loss now, even though my DHT is at 13, is age related. It's not DHT related.
100%.
And that's,
listen, all these guys.
I'm even getting that. I'm right behind you, Spencer. I'm getting a little bit of retrograde, like just very slight. It just doesn't feel that edge in the back used to just have a hard line.
Oh, when my hair is wet, I mean, it's totally see-through in the sides. Like, that's not the sides, God forbid, the back of my scalp.
All these influencers and people talking about hair loss and transplants at young age, they're not talking about the guys that are 55 and up, right? I mean, how effective is Propecia?
We're dead to them. Why would they? We're mummies,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. All these guys who contact me, like I comb through my, the top of my head on camera for my Instagram, and all these guys are like, dude, just get on Dutasteride. Why don't you just get on Dutasteride or low dose oral minoxidil? But the Dutasteride thing was pretty heavy. Like they don't understand, these kids, why I choose to stay on finasteride for 30 years and not up my, my DHT game, anti-DHT game to Dutasteride. And I try to explain it to them, and it just goes in one ear and out the other, because there's so many young guys out there basically saying you want to nuke your DHT. This is something that's going to guarantee you to have long-term results, maintain your hair. You could have, as many transplants as you want when you're on this drug. I mean, it's unfortunate. There's only so much that we can do.
It's absolutely, but all three of us, right? Our age, Joe's a little younger, but there's just not a lot of people talking about age-related hair loss, even when you're suppressing your DHT, right? Dutasteride is not going to make the rate of return. I don't think is going to be a benefit at our age. How do you feel about that?
I agree with you 100%. And I think that lowering DHT or trying to lower my DHT now, when I responded so well to finasteride, there's really no evidence that, at least there's nothing clinically, there's nothing anecdotally that I'm aware of, where someone who's done well on finasteride for so many years needs more of their DHT to be suppressed. So to me, what's happening to me now is age. There is fibrosis, obviously, that happens with that age. Your hair shaft diameter just gets smaller. You have what's known as, in simple terms, aged alopecia. So even the guys who've kept their hair their entire lives, Sam, what's his name? Sam Shepard? Not Sam Shepard. Sam, guy with the big mustache.
Sam
Elliott, or
right,
or Richard Gere.
I think they. Correct me if I'm wrong. They call it senescence.
It's senescent alopecia.
Hair loss, right?
Yeah.
Senile
right.
senescent alopecia. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, I've been really trying to track my Propecia effectiveness after 30 years being on the drug. So I'm, when I wash my hair, I will put a catcher in there and count the hairs, right? Literally. Yeah. And I'm noticing probably maybe 35 to 50 hairs average daily, which is not bad. I know that's normal, but I am noticing what you just said, Spencer, is the miniaturization. These 50% are thinner hairs than, the thicker ones that are falling out. And that I haven't seen, right? There's just smaller and smaller and smaller.
And really, at this stage in our lives, the one thing that might reverse that or slow it for a long period of time would be a drug like low-dose oral minoxidil, or potentially another milder vasodilator that's out there, but that could also help with fibrosis, but it won't get that big kick of hair growth. So I am wrestling. I kind of wanted to see what happened to Joe. Joe tapped out, basically, or he's going to, or he's going to try not to.
That's why. Look, I've been tuning in since Joe was transparent about his process, and look, I tried the drug. I took one pill, and I quit drinking. I work out every day. I got a excellent diet, just a process of elimination. And when I took 1.25 first, just one dose, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like that, my body said, "No way, bro. This is not going to happen."
Joe was like complaining to me about, like, I don't know what's going on. I'm getting a rash on my face, and he's like, he's not even putting two and two together. I'm like, brother, did you ever think it was the oral minoxidil? He's like, huh? Yeah. Well, man, I'm like, just lower your doses, see what happens. Titrate that shit.
And look, I try to stay away from the forums as much as you guys recommend some of these viewers to not go down that rabbit hole. But there is a lot of people talking about the facial aging risks of oral minoxidil as well. A lot of people.
I just saw something. I didn't read the exact article or whatever, but someone. I don't even remember where I just saw this, but someone just this past week posted something saying that the idea that minoxidil, and I think they were talking about oral minoxidil or how it applies with oral minoxidil, ages your skin, was shown in a study to be false. Now, knowing how quote unquote studies aren't really studies sometimes, I don't believe that at face value. I want to find it and read it. I just haven't had time this week. I need to find where that was posted, but it might have been Tressless, actually, of all places. But Tressless is Reddit is Reddit. But still, if it's a study that someone's linking to, I want to read it and find out, because that has been on my mind. It's like, I'm 56. Do I want to take something that's going to make me look actually older? No, but I'm doing it anyway. But I'd like to see. No,
that's where I'm at. Right. I mean, you start to lose facial fat. You start to either you're a sinker or a hollower, right? But you definitely don't need a drug that's going to accelerate that even more.
100%.
Obviously, you guys have aged well over the years, but why introduce something that's going to accelerate that even more? But it'd be interesting for you to share that once you find that article, because there is a lot of talk about it on Trestless for sure.
Mm.
I have to say that I feel like I'm probably so much healthier for not going on those plays like Reddit and everywhere else. I just can't. Can't do it, man.
There's a lot of talk about this time-released oral minoxidil, and I would assume that would have the same effects. But like you were saying, you don't get the spike. I think this drug might come. I think it might come to fruition, right?
Absolutely. I do believe it's going to come to fruition, and I think that it's going to be a benefit to a lot of people. What I think is great about it is, at least in the world of the media and mainstream media, there's going to be a pill that's talked about. It's going to kind of bring hair loss back into, back into focus in a way that it hasn't been in 30 years. Everything's been about all these potential products and all. This is going to be a real medication that's really going to be highlighted for women and promoted to women. There's no pill for women out there yet. And I think it's going to have a lot of benefit in many ways. But the truth is, I also believe, and I do believe this, that with proper titration, if someone's willing to take multiple dosages a day, you can probably accomplish the same thing. And it's going to be a lot cheaper. And I know that the company, at least when I spoke to the CEO, I'm not saying he was concerned about that, but when I brought that up and basically said, you have to lean into the true benefits of this drug if you want to, you're going to make all the money that you expect to make. You'll probably be able to walk away, making tens of millions of dollars, if not more, for yourself. But in the long term, I don't know if doctors are going to be prescribing it that easily when they can prescribe a much cheaper alternative, and they're already used to prescribing that. I know it was kind of a long way to make my point.
Oh no, it's a great point. I mean, he's probably going to spin it off and just flip it to somebody that's going to buy him out. He'll be fine. It depends on how it's being. Oral minoxidil is not marketed on TV or anything like that. I think if this time released one comes out specifically for hair loss, it'll be literally what maybe the second drug ever to be approved, right? Or third.
The second pill to be approved, at least in the U.S.
Right.
I mean, Dutasteride was approved for hair loss, I think, in Japan, right? But as far as women, Korea. It would be the first pill for women, which is going to be huge. Here's the problem. It's a pharmaceutical company. They do not have the same luxury as these compounding pharmacies and telehealth companies to promote their drug without an entire list of adverse side effects. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to list those side effects in all of their advertising. How is that going to equate online? Because it's going to be a lot harder to have this kind of laundry list of side effects in online ads and through influencers. So it's going to be interesting.
Correct. Is sublingual minoxidil available now? Do you guys know?
It could all be sublingual.
Okay, so you can just take a Lonitin pill and put it under your tongue, and that's sublingual. I mean, it doesn't come in a different form.
It melts. Here's the thing about sublingual. Anything that you take under your tongue, some of it goes through your digestion tract, for sure, because digestive tract, because you're still swallowing.
Yeah.
You're
not absorbing
Isn't the reason people take oral minoxidil because of the sulfur transfer that happens in the liver versus people using topical not getting that effect?
Correct.
Yeah.
So sublingual is not going to go through the liver and
I think if it still goes through your bloodstream, it still goes through your liver, doesn't it?
Yes.
I don't think it does. That's what they were. That's what I've read. It doesn't go through it bypasses that.
Joe,
which means
use your favorite AI to check that out.
Yeah, they said that sublingual, you're not going to get the side effects that you would get on oral minoxidil that goes through the liver, but then you're also missing the benefit of taking the oral minoxidil because you want your liver to convert it into the active form, minoxidil sulfate.
Who's they?
From
Who
what I understand. One of these hair loss YouTube doctors. It's an Indian guy and an old man. I can't remember the name.
Oh, Doctor.
They've been on for years.
Doctor Body.
No, Doctor in Australia. Australia.
Yep.
Vivek, not Vivek.
Gray-haired guy, gray-haired old man with a beard, and then the Indian guy who looks
the
like
hair
he's
loss
losing
show.
his hair. Yeah,
Are you calling Russell Knudsen a gray-haired old man with a beard?
There you go, Russell Knudsen.
He's not going to like hearing that.
They just had the video on the sublingual this week.
So chemicals administered sublingually placed under the tongue generally do not go through the liver first. Instead, they're absorbed directly into the bloodstream through the capillary network and the oral mucosa. Process allows sublingual medications to bypass the hepatic first-pass metabolism process where the liver metabolizes and breaks down drugs before they're reaching the rest of the body.
So that's why Xanax works so much better under your tongue.
Exactly.
So you're missing the conversion, guys.
So then what the hell is the point?
That's what I'm saying, right? The only reason you stop using topical and 70% of the people don't get an effect on topicals because you want it to convert. Sublingually is not converting it.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you. I learned something today, something I probably should have known for my entire life. But you know what? I'm half an idiot half the time, and I appreciate that because
no, you're not. But at least you got Joe to look it up. I mean, this is why we have to have this open forum. Because,
I already knew it.
Look.
Oh, and by the way, Joe was right about the left arm too. So I may have had several heart attacks already.
Out of the three of us, let's give credit where credit's due. Joe has had the balls to take on this fucking drug.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? We're sitting back waiting for him to be the guinea pig, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing.
100%.
Well, I'm hardly the first, but among the three of us, yes, I am.
No, but you're the first respectable human.
You're the first that's, you're the first that's in its, look, you're the first that's in his 50s and that has been in this industry a long time with transparency and honesty, right? So this is, I've been waiting for this.
And he's in his late 50s now.
Oh, fuck off. What's interesting is I was inspired to have my eyelids peel by our good friend Graham from Australia, who has had an amazing turnaround. Now, I was actually looking, I contacted Graham today before the show, not for anything about the show, but I asked him to send me a clear before and after because I want to have his case on hand so that people will say, there's no way that oral minoxidil will be, really effective. It's like, hello. And I was surprised to see that he actually wasn't, as you were saying, Spencer, Formica bald. He wasn't. Oh. He actually had what he had was the pattern of a really strong, well, I should say weak Norwood 4, big crown, very small bridge with a bit of a, not a forelock, but a bit of a peninsula jutting forward, but not quite being a hairline. And what I confirmed with him was it wouldn't grow longer than like half a centimeter. So there is that. But he wasn't Formica bald. But still, when you look at his results with just oral minoxidil and then adding finasteride, I think a year or two later, he's 2 years into, I think if I remember correctly, 2 or 2.5 years into his overall experience with this. And now he's to the point where he feels like he's ready to have a hair transplant and he doesn't need surgery for the front. He doesn't want surgery for the front. He just wants to fill his crown in
for now,
which is fantastic.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me he went on oral minoxidil before he was on finasteride?
Yes.
And how old is he?
In his 50s. I think he just turned 50, or he's 51. Or
how do you know his response?
He looks pretty young. I would say
the,
maybe 50.
How do you know his response is because of the finasteride versus the oral minoxidil?
Because he was already having a impressive turnaround just on minoxidil. Lonatan, by the way, because in Australia, that's what they get.
And it was male pattern baldness versus more wasn't intelligent effluvium or any type of
No, he was. It was like he was full on
thinning.
Not even that. It wasn't even that. It was enough to say where any reasonable person our age would not say he's bald, but he's definitely balding. In other words, he wasn't Formica bald like Spencer was calling him. He wasn't a full slick top. His hairline was, his crown more or less was.
So he wasn't
and most
like
of the
Morty,
top was.
is what you're saying.
Yeah, he wasn't like Morty.
Okay, but finasteride and oral minoxidil is so strong on the crown versus the hairline. Why is he wanting to get crown work? That's the black hole.
Because his crown was improved to the point where it's actually a reasonable approach. Where he's talking to he's had an assessment by a doctor in Thailand that I know very little about, but what I do know, I'm very impressed by her. And she recommended.
Is this Dr. Patty?
No, it's not Dr. Patty. It's a doctor that's not very well known outside of Thailand, basically. But
right.
She recommended about 2,500 grafts for the crown, which is still a lot, but that'll make a huge difference for him. And if he's not looking for hairline work, he's going to be happy in one shot, assuming everything grows fine.
How's his frontal third?
His frontal fifth is bald because he has a very high hairline. Right now he's about a high hairline Norwood 3.
Right. Okay.
And very full on top, and with a crown where he says that his crown is now the size of a Pringles can cap. And he sent me a picture of it with a Pringles can cap on his crown, which made me laugh. I think it's even better than that because he's got a bunch of finer hairs that are growing underneath that demarcation. And I honestly think that with continued use of medication, it will continue to get better. But he's ready to pull the trigger now. He's done his homework. Like, if anyone was ready for surgery, it's Graham. Right. He really, really took his time, and he wasn't taking anything for many years, but he was a follower of the show, fan of the show, and he finally decided to pull the trigger on oral minoxidil. I don't remember the reasoning behind that, like what made him pull the trigger finally. I'm sure he'd be happy to share that at some point. But yeah, I mean, it left me and Spencer really impressed. And he is one of the greatest turnarounds I've seen. He's
a hyper responder. I mean, that's far and few between. I mean, it's luck of the draw, man. I mean, but he's also, the fact that he started oral minoxidil before finasteride is mind blowing. I mean, the first line of defense, in my opinion, is stop the root cause with a DHT inhibitor for sure.
Yeah.
But
there's also guys balding for a very long time, and he's probably been aware of finasteride for decades and decided to wait all this time and, kind of move in this direction. He was considering, I think, a hair transplant until he found us. I don't remember, or maybe considering it. And then he just decided to move in this direction. I'm not sure why he tried oral minoxidil first. Maybe he thought
I think it was a fear of finasteride.
Oh, that makes sense, actually.
I think it was a fear of finasteride at first, and then continuously watching the show.
Well, that was one of the biggest mistakes. I'd have to say one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was in 2010. I felt I was losing ground on Propecia. Went and saw a doctor in San Francisco. Got on name brand Avodart for 2 years, and then, as you guys probably know, in 2012 is when all the fear mongering came out on this post-finasteride syndrome, which is absolute bullshit. But I would agree there's probably some people that have serious side effects, and I'm not going to discount that. My point is this: it did fear me into, I sold my company in 2012, and I took a trip to Italy, Amalfi Coast, took a month off, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna take some time off of this drug, because I finally had some time on my hands to do some research on Propecia and Avodart, and then that's when this PFS thing started coming out. And
so that's what you do when you go to the Amalfi Coast. You start investigating and researching finasteride.
Well, it took me, after I sold my business, it took me a week. It took me a week just to figure out what relaxation was all about. But I was in a great relationship and thought maybe it's time to think about kids and starting a family. And I started looking into, obviously, how long do you have to be off finasteride and Avodart? No, you guys know that. And
makes sense.
The half-life, all the half-life bullshit that you have to deal with Avodart. It takes a while to get out of your system. So I stopped taking Avodart after 2 years on that trip, and then the fear-mongering came out, and it kept me from being on anything for 5 years. I
think you told us this.
Yeah, that's right.
That affected me in a way like maybe this is why I'm maybe why I'm depressed. Maybe it's not it's me selling my company and being retired at a young age. I had no idea, right? And I don't know. I hope somebody else that's maybe listening understands that don't listen to this post-finasteride syndrome stuff. You gotta try these drugs out for.
I was just contacted.
It literally gave me a 5-year break on a DHT inhibitor. And
listen to this. I was contacted by someone writing for New York Times Magazine, which is amazing that people still read that, or that that's a thing anymore. And her angle for the story was interesting, but really kept pushing the whole post-finasteride syndrome angle. And I did my best to try to express the issues with her. And also I was very clear that, her parent paper, the New York Times, everyone has gotten this wrong. And everyone is really essentially, all the press, all the media has been just working for clicks and trying to get as many eyeballs as possible on this, relatively, I would say, unproven phenomenon. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but there is as you said, you think it's bullshit. I don't think it's bullshit. I just think that there's been a cottage industry created around this. And so I attempted to explain it to her. I haven't heard back from her, by the way. And I did say, there's a chance I'm not going to hear back from you, but I want to put this out there. You have the opportunity to tell the truth about this. That's your choice. And what I know about the press, and you read all this because it's online and then in the press, is that their not publisher, their what is it called, Joe? They're not publishers, the people above the writers.
Editors.
They're editors. Jesus Christ. Their editors want a story. That's it.
They want drama.
So it's possible that these writers pitch the story and the editors give it a thumbs up, so they have to stick to that. Whatever it is, they want that drama. It's very...
Was this recently, Spencer?
This was about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
They're still talking about this.
Oh yeah, well there's been some recent stuff, some stuff that I've actually turned down, but there was some stuff I think in the UK papers about it again, and there's a whole BBC documentary about it. Not too long ago, like maybe a month and a half ago.
When I stopped in 2012, there was pending lawsuits, and I thought I was going to wait to see what came out. And what I didn't like is the FDA, I guess, forced Merck to put warnings on the box over and above what the original warnings were. Correct?
Well, you cannot blame the FDA for that. I mean, if things do come out, even if it's anecdotal, and if there's enough anecdotal information out there, at the very least, the FDA asks the drug companies to put these warnings on there. They can claim that it's never been shown clinically, but they need to put these warnings on there. And I think that's fair. I think that everyone should have full disclosure, and all the possibilities, but I think it also needs to be balanced. And that's always been the biggest problem.
I need to jump in and correct myself. Graham's in the chat room. Graham, good to see you. And he corrected me, which he's allowed to do. He was on finasteride first, and he said that oral minoxidil is what really supercharged his result. So I got that fear of finasteride confused with something.
Finally, he gets something wrong.
I didn't think a guy with his experience and research and know-how would do oral minoxidil before finasteride.
Yeah, my thought was I didn't think Graham was that stupid, but you never know.
Yeah.
So
which by extension means I'm stupid thinking that he went that route.
5-6 years. I lost 5 to 6 years because of the post-finasteride syndrome fear mongering, and I wonder where my hair would be at today.
I've heard that so many times.
Listen, I always explain where it all started, and honestly, it originally started on the message forums. And there were snake oil salesmen who were really promoting, not the post-finasteride syndrome, it wasn't called that yet, but really pushing the side effects. Really, really pushing it. And then around 2003, there's a very small Yahoo group that was created that was kind of inconsequential. But then in 2006, these complaints started to come on these RX review sites.
Oh, no, but Spencer, it's still happening. Even this Dr. Parson Mohabi guy, right? The doctor that does the stars, and if you're not a star, you're probably getting substandard results, but that's subjective. My point is he's pushing his own snake oil, saying you don't get the side effects. Right?
Well, and what's interesting is anyone knows that anything that lowers your DHT naturally, even though you don't have to state that it has adverse side effects, even if you're lowering DHT by 30%, which some of these, herbal supplements can do, there's always a relative. It's small, but there's a possibility of adverse side effects, including sexual adverse side effects. So the fact that he is a physician trying to pimp out his own product and really not give full disclosure. I understand legally he doesn't have to, because this isn't under the guidance of the FDA. These are nutritional supplements. Legally, he doesn't have to do it, but he's a doctor. And that's what bugs me. His patients should know this is a possibility. Anyone who sells these things.
What bothers me is, he's a doctor that gives great deals, if not free, procedures for influencers that have a lot of followers. And then he switches and pushes his. It just bothers me. It's just a bad taste in my mouth, right?
Well, I'll tell you something, and I think this is important. There was for a while he was a member of my organization. When he initially applied, and he'll tell you this, or maybe he won't, but he initially applied. He didn't have enough time on tissue, so I had to reject him. This is kind of when he just stopped working for Bill Rasmussen at the New Hair Institute. But I knew he was well trained, and we weren't doing any type of an associate program back then. I was just like, you know what? Come back, in a year or two when you have 500 cases under your belt, and we'll take a look. So he continued to follow up, and he was very persistent. He got to his 500 case load. And I'm like, all right, this guy's doing, and this is at the time where FEU was still in its infancy, he was doing really good strips, very clean. He had a small practice. He was very detail-oriented, I felt at the time. He had a full-time staff. He wasn't going Hollywood. I think he was practicing his main practice, I think was in Encino. I could be wrong. So it was small. He was trying to develop it. So when you're at that stage, you're kind of different. Then all of a sudden, like around the pandemic, his marketing people are calling me, and they're talking about lead generation, and I'm just thinking, I'm like,
you had him at his best.
But then I'm like, I had to contact him. Listen, your marketing people called me to talk about leads, and they wanted to learn more about the ROI of this, ridiculously small investment. And then I basically told the marketing people, listen, this isn't the way we operate. If Dr. Mohibi wants to contact me, he can, whatever it is. But the long and short of it is we separated. And I have to tell you, I feel and there's nothing against him as a physician as far as his basic skill set, I dodged a bullet. I could not be happier that he's not part of what we do.
I dodged one too because he approached me in Turkey in 2015 asking what it took to work with me, and I told him what the requirements were, and his exact words were, "That sounds really good. Let me talk to my marketing people." And I was like, okay, done.
Yeah, back
That's
then
not happening.
I didn't even know he had a marketing people. We didn't never discuss that.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and I think it's important. And again, this is not to trash this guy in any way. I do think
I like the guy.
You what? You like him? Yeah, he's not a bad guy.
I like the guy.
Yeah, he was always very friendly. I actually feel bad that the
his
marketing people got involved.
His basic skill set, as you said, Spencer, his basic skill set is good. He's good at what he does. He's just got a little bit of a grift going on, right? I mean, he's and nothing against that. I don't begrudge anybody making money. I just wish he was a little more transparent. He did a procedure on this kid's Zep.
I was going to talk
I can't
about
remember
that.
his name.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Spencer. I think a while ago you said this kid was starting out a little bit too soon. Should have been on medications at least a year longer, maybe. His transplant is decent, but it looks like he's losing a little ground. I don't know why. He posts a lot. I love his content. I think he's a great kid. He's a sharp kid. He's a great kid.
This is how I feel.
Dude.
This is how I feel about it.
He's got it going on. He's going to need another procedure. That's for sure.
But this is how I feel about it. And I tried to warn him, but there was so much getting in. He's growing his brand, as they say online. He had already made this commitment to do this documentary, from what I understand. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. He was offered this arrangement. This is how I feel. He got involved with the wrong people in this industry. And it's absolutely not a great thing. And now he's offering contests for free hair transplants, and he doesn't fully understand what he's involved in and who he's involved with. And that's unfortunate for him because I think he's a genuine guy. I just got a great feeling from the guy, but I believe he's going down the wrong path.
No, I think you nailed it 100%. He got involved with the wrong people. Like imagine if this kid went to the doctor that Spencer just interviewed. I mean, not Spencer, but Joe just interviewed. Is it Manny Mattel?
Yeah, he would have walked away. He would have had a 2,500 graft case, maybe.
He would have. That doctor would have knocked it out of the park with this kid.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. He really would have, and that's probably what the old Mohebi would do, right? When he was kind of small and boutique firm, right?
Well,
all hands on.
Everyone talks about big numbers, and I just think that there was a real disservice done because Zeph will never know what he could have accomplished if things were done in stages. If he waited for finasteride to kind of kick in. If he had maybe a 2,000, 3,000 graft case to shore up his hairline, mid-anterior scalp, not worried about the other aspects of his scalp. If you take a close look at what he's been going through, even on medication, there is kind of a general. I don't know if I would call it retrograde, because when his hair is dry, it looks very thick. But when it's wet, there's a significant miniaturization that doesn't seem to be reversed, but may be halted. And, he could have another procedure, but the donor's going to be much weaker than he is already.
I think something's going on in his mid-scalp. I mean, his mid-scalp has thinned out significantly since the transplant. And we all know that transplants look great on the first year, and then they start to, what do they, desynchronize is what you guys say?
They can.
It seems like his best days are behind him, and that mid scalp. I don't know if it's because he's using a shitload of product. Maybe he's using topical product. He's not. I don't know.
Now
he's
getting involved. He's trying to get involved. He has his own company now. He's trying to get involved with his own telehealth company. So he's switched to 7% minoxidil, which kind of differentiates his product from the typical 5%. And I understand, like you said, you're a guy who was acquired. You've had a lot of success in business. I understand this momentum, and I understand he wants to take advantage of his influence, his online popularity, the size of his following. He wants to be able to somehow monetize this. I completely understand that. He's just not getting the best advice. And that, to me, when I see a kid like this, who I believe, eventually went into the right direction. After he was putting all of the happy horse shit on his scalp and getting some initial growth from derma rolling, whatever it is, that never would have stuck around, he did decide to take the medication that worked for him. But he may be switching generics at this point. Maybe he's using his own products or his own generics at this point. He was using topical, then he switched to oral. By the time he got onto oral, he was already jumping into a hair transplant. He did not give himself, I believe, a fighting chance to have the best possible long-term outcome. And I think it's a great disservice for any physician not to at least advise him truthfully. And that's my problem with Mohibi, in my opinion. It's just my.
But don't you think he's kind of misleading some of these younger kids on his viewers? I mean,
well, that's the nature of the game. Right? Once you become an influencer, and once you have to monetize it the way all these people have to figure out how to monetize it, they have to make concessions. They have to be. Yeah. People. What is it called when basically you're just not just making concessions, but you're kind of like, you know what? Is it really that bad? I mean, these kids are going to take somebody else's product, or
you're compromising.
Well, it's a compromise, but it's more than that. It's just you kind of turn a blind eye to the reality of it, and you almost forget who you were, what you've been through, how much you suffered as a hair loss sufferer, and how much you would have hated to be even partially misled or not, told the truth by omission. And when selling out. But when these guys have to, and there's nothing wrong with selling out. When I'm really ready to sell out, I told you guys, I've done enough for you motherfuckers. I'll just let you know, and you'll have to deal with it. If you want to listen to me, if I still do the show, great. If you don't, but at least you'll know I'm selling out. But I hate to I don't want this kid to even hear this and think that we're speaking ill of him, because I do think he's a really good kid, but it's not his fault that, in my view, he's been misled. And that just trickles down to his followers.
Yeah, unfortunately it does.
But I don't think there's anything nefarious. But I will say he really got involved with a bad crew, in my opinion. And even by association, the one person he's associated with directly, the younger person, is associated with some really bad elements in this industry. And I think this one kid that he's associated with doesn't even understand that he's involved with, like, really the worst of the worst that this industry has ever seen. And I'm being cryptic.
Is this somebody that he works with behind the scenes? I don't. Who are you talking about? I thought he's just kind of a one-man show.
Well, he is, but he's running contests, for hair transplants, and he's kind of involved. He's just involved with the wrong crew that he doesn't even realize it. That's all I'm saying. He just.
Yeah, that was a turnoff. Seeing this contest. Yeah, I saw that.
Well, you just don't know. To give away a hair transplant, even if you're being well-meaning, you have no idea. You could be putting this person's life not in jeopardy. Well, I guess in jeopardy to some degree, but you have no idea what that outcome is going to be. Even if you send them to the best possible doctor in the world, at least you think they're the best doctor, it could destroy his life. So you're running a contest, you're getting, people to follow you, and you're getting more views, and the other person he's working with is trying to get more followers. But that's a huge responsibility I don't think that Jeff fully recognizes.
One of the most embarrassing contest I'd ever seen was when Gary Linkov had 3 guys in his clinic literally competing in front of the camera to win a hair transplant. Like, perform for your dinner.
So what did they have to do? They had to like make balloon animals, I think. What was it?
Some hokey bullshit. It was just, I don't remember what it was, but it was very hokey. It was very is very transparent, and it was like a bad game show.
Look,
and
Gary Linkoff
I don't remember.
We talk about this because he is not paying us. That's the funny part of it.
Yeah. Well,
Isn't that
after what he's been doing, he couldn't pay us.
You know what?
That's the whole thing.
There's something about this Gary Linkoff guy. Something about this guy I don't like. I can't pinpoint it though. It's just I don't know what it is.
Well, I will say that I was
too much time online, not enough on tissue. I did some research on him about a year ago. The transplants were like $100,000. You stay in a nice hotel, you get the VIP treatment. Like, what the fuck? This guy does not have that level of experience, in my opinion.
His transplants are $100,000 now.
They were, and then I think I posted his Instagram or somebody's response, and then they came back and said, "Oh no, we lowered the price." And I'm like, "Yeah, you think? I mean, give me a break." But they were $100,000.
I have to say,
good for him.
That was all inclusive of like the hotel and all that. But in New York, it's probably. I don't know. I don't know. There's something about him. I just rubs me the wrong way. I can't pinpoint it. I know it's not fair to say. I mean, nothing against him personally, but.
I tried to be very nice to this guy, and he either in his mind, however warped it may be, misconstrued a certain situation. I've spoken about it on the air, but I'm not going to follow up or continue to speak about it. But I would say, in my estimation, based on what he has put out there publicly, and even more behind the scenes to people that I know well, not a good guy. Not a good guy.
Yeah, is he the guy? I don't know if I read it somewhere that blamed you guys or accused you guys of being the hair loss mafia or something.
Yes.
Yeah. He also told somebody more than one person.
Publicly say did he say that on a podcast, or was that something that he wrote?
He said it on a podcast. He's also said it. He actually said it behind the scenes to somebody, one person that I know of, and I heard it was said at certain meetings. And the person that told me about this, basically, this person said, A, we're essentially the hair loss mafia. B, that I charge $7,500 a month for my members. And so when this person said, well, I mean, I think Kobren's great and has only been good to me, whatever it is, he kind of shut up. But it's interesting, I'm thinking, what is it? Why does he feel the need to do this? And I don't know if he thinks he's going to be exposed at some point down the line.
Follow the money. Follow the money. I mean, you guys inform people that a hair transplant is the last resort. I mean, I've been following you for years. I've waited this long. I've been on Propecia 30 years. And I still haven't made a decision. But
what's funny about that is I actually offered him once, after, and I'm going to say this quick. I think it's important in case he's listening to this, because this is exactly what happened, and anything else would be a complete fabrication. He invited me to do a podcast with him before he was really who he is online. I did it. Then we're talking about his mentor, the person who actually he did a pre-ternship with, being part of the IHRS. I expressed to him that he didn't have enough time on tissue, but since he trained under this doctor, we'd love to have him on board as an associate member. It's a trial period. Associate membership is like $20 a day. It's the cost of a cup of coffee. It's a Starbucks, a couple of cups of coffee. Mm-hmm. And he was all excited about it. And he comes back to me and says, I really don't know if I could afford that right now. I said, listen, the door's open. Anytime that you are interested in considering this, just know that, this is a probationary period. You're going to be listed as an associate member. It's going to be known that you don't have 500 cases under your belt, so on and so forth. And he was very grateful for that potential opportunity. The fact that he came back and said he couldn't afford that kind of raised a little bit of a jaundiced eye. I was like, really? How can you not afford this?
So So he wasn't willing to spend $600 a month to be listed on your recommendation.
It wasn't $600 a month. It would be. Oh yeah, it was about
$20
that.
a day.
It was about that. It was about, maybe it was a little bit more. Maybe it's like $22 a day, but that doesn't make a difference. That's besides the point. So then, a couple of years later, around the pandemic, a year into the pandemic, we ran the Global Hair Loss Summit. I was like, hey, this would be an interesting guy. This guy had told me he's never invited to the meetings. He never gets any, podium time. And I thought of him. I said, well, he's really getting big on the internet. Let me, interview him so that the doctors who are part of the summit can view this interview, learn more about the online world because they're all interested in that, talk about his experience. And I never forget this. He was so grateful. He told me he really appreciates this. He reiterated again that he kind of feels like an island on his own. No one invites him to these meetings. He's not part of anything. So I put him on the faculty. Great. We had a great talk. About, 6 months later or a year later, I forget the actual time frame, I was going to start the Trusted Content Creator program because all the nonsense that's going on online. I talked to him about it. I said, listen, you're creating, in general, for the most part, you're getting yourself out there. You're creating decent hair loss content. We can make you a trusted content creator, but the problem is you're not part of the IHRS. But because you are reaching a large group of people, you have a big following, it's no problem if you can't afford it. We'll put you on as an associate member. You'll still be on probation. But, essentially just talk about the Trusted Brand Program, what it is. I was very straightforward with him. So then he says to me he has to speak to his marketing people. I'm like, Jesus Christ! He doesn't even want to promote the reality that most of the content that's being put out there on hair loss is nonsense. That there's this Trusted Brand Program through the American Hair Loss Association. Let people come to our website to learn the truth. He has a platform. He didn't want to do that. And I was just like, I just gave up on it.
Would that have allowed him to sell his product?
No, well, here, and so this is the rest of the story. So he said to me after that, before he came back with the marketing people said it's not a good idea right now, he said he's coming out with a product. And maybe I'd be interested.
Right. Okay.
Maybe I'd be interested in that. And I said, listen, he's talking about a telehealth company. And I said, listen, I already I'm working with another company. I've given them an option. Currently, they are providing full disclosure. It's a high-quality product. They're not going to be selling the cheapest product. So that's off the table. I can't do that with you. And he said, okay, well, maybe we'll circle back. Then he gets back to me about a week later and says that his marketing people are uninterested in or don't think it's a good idea for him to promote the American Hair Loss Association. And I'm just like, all right, that's fine. That's good. I dodged a bullet. And that's why he's pissed off.
And he asked me to be on his podcast. This is early on. And he didn't like the fact that I wasn't just laying there agreeing with everything he was saying. I actually offered counter opinions based on my own experience, which is, in this industry, it dwarfs his experience. And he never aired the episode.
And I also think his marketing people's reasoning behind not wanting to promote the American Hair Loss Association was like, in his mind, he's like, oh, now I'm big time, and Kobren just wants to ride on my coattails. And I'm thinking, this guy's talking about ethics, and he's talking about how important our work is, and that so many patients are being harmed out there. You tell me you can't afford $20 a day, so you know what? That's fine. You're going to be doing something that's really important. So you could be an associate member. We'll see how that works out. You're still on probation. But in the interim, we'll make you a trusted content creator when you're creating just hair loss content that's not just promoting your own shit. And I explained that to him, and he refused that because he thought that, why do I need Kobren now? And I just think that's hilarious. It's so short-sighted. But it does speak to this guy's integrity.
Does he do good work at all? I don't think they're overwhelming, right?
Well, here is the reality. back at that time when I said I was going to bring him on as an associate member, I knew who he trained with. He couldn't be botching people. I knew that it was a relatively conservative approach. So it was fine. It wasn't, is it stellar in my view? No. But I'm not
top 50?
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. However, in my estimation at the time, he was doing no harm. Then, not too long after this situation, I find out that he's doing a hair transplant on a super well-known influencer who's like 22 years old, maybe 21 at the time. And I'm just like, holy shit. So again, I felt I dodged a bullet. I spoke about that on the air. And now he's created this narrative that Joe and I are upset that we speak badly about doctors who refuse to pay us. He was offered a situation for free.
And he never applied to work with me. So
yeah, because he said he couldn't afford it. And I hope I'm not getting overly excited about this, Joe. But I will say it's a little maddening that it's one thing to say it publicly. I don't really care that much. But to go behind the scenes and say this stuff, to try to talk about this stuff with people in the field or people who he has no idea how well I know, who are kind of on the periphery of the field. And it was shocking, the stuff that he said about us and about me.
Guys like him in general don't bother me in the least, except for in what does bother me about Gary Linkoff, just so that everyone knows who we're talking about, is how you gave him basically his first chance, his first opportunity to be on the stage at a podium after he was telling you that he doesn't feel like he's being, looked at for podium time. And that's what these doctors want. They want to be able to, even the new guys, still wet behind the ears, fresh out of their internship with Dr. X or whoever, they think that they're ready and they deserve podium time.
And that's why Bruno invited him to the other organization.
Yes. But so for him to say that to you, and then you open up Global Hair Loss Summit, which I had a blast working on. It was tough as shit, but it was fun to work on.
Dude, you were the best. That's why I still have you around, because you were incredible.
Thank you. You gave him his first opportunity, and he was so thankful. And then for him to turn around and basically stab you and me in the back. Like, I never had a great relationship with him. I tried to be nice to the guy, but he didn't want any part of it. But with you, it's like, who does that? There really was no cause for it. And, I don't think about the guy. I see his, he pops up in my feed. He blocked me from sharing his stuff because I tried to remixed one of his videos, countering what he was saying. He was wrong about something. And I was explaining why he didn't like that. And that's why he doesn't like me, because I don't nod my head in agreement on shit that he gets wrong.
Well,
I tell him when he's wrong.
I will say this, and I have respect for this guy. No matter what people say about this guy, Matt Dominance, at times, which I don't really know much about him, and I saw him during that interview when he basically said, this guy he has a radio show, so, and who do you think he's referring to? But he's really like, the Don of the hair loss mafia, and if you don't pay him, he will, bash you online. Those aren't the exact words. And Matt Dominance was just sitting there in silence. I didn't think he was nodding his head. He just took that shit in and he realized, I'm not even going to get involved in this.
Yeah, he's like, I want nothing to do with this one. Like,
and
you say what you want, I'm not agreeing with you.
And it really made Linkoff look like a complete fool, because then he had to kind of do this nervous tail off and then try to transition into something else.
Yeah,
it was
a good look.
It was awesome. And Matt, if you see this, that was great.
I heard you guys talking about that. I couldn't even. I wanted to watch the podcast, but I can't. I can't even bear to watch Gary. It's like I couldn't even watch it. I was wondering when that awkward moment was. I'm glad you brought that up tonight.
It's with Matt Dominance. And I have to say again, Matt, if you hear this, man, you handled that like a pro, brother. Anybody
he did. He was very calm and collected during that. But I didn't realize and get to that part where Gary was, saying things about you.
Yeah, but that part when he was saying things about us, he could have had taken the opportunity to jump on that or whatever, which I don't. There's no reason for him to do that. He handled that like a mensch, and he made Gary that just by not reacting to it the way some people would or agreeing with him made Gary look like such an asshole. So Matt, if you're listening to this, I know that wasn't your intention to make him look like an asshole. You were being a mensch and a person of integrity. Well done, brother.
Yeah, and
on
I'd
that
have
note,
to say,
we need to wrap up. It's 5:30.
Matt Dominance did a very good job on his experience with oral minoxidil too, Joe. I don't know if you saw that, but he had a tap out too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the reason?
I mean, he did
quickly.
He had heart palpitations, pressure, but he did 3 videos on backing off, titrating down. Did a great job. EKG, everything. I mean, he went really deep.
I'd say he's pretty thorough with a lot of things that I've seen him put out there.
No, but Joe, I think as you consider the oral minoxidil continuation, titrating down, you need to watch those videos. I know it's taken up a lot of your guys' time. Always good to talk to you. I know you got to go.
And guys who are holding on, sorry, we'll get to you next week because Joe's got to run.
Yeah, understood.
Okay.
Understood.
All right, brother. Take care.
Okay, ciao.
Good talk.
Okay.
I do want to. Sorry.
Ahead,
I do want to wrap up with the subject of the show, which we never got to. And it has to do with the FDA and their approval process with multiple trials. And I'm not an expert on how they do this, but they do have a requirement, if I'm not mistaken, for more than one phase 3 trial. It needs to be, I believe it needs to be 2 competing phase 3 trials. And there's a development. I went to Hair Loss Cure 2020, a great supporter of the show and trusted content creator recognized by American Hair Loss Association. The title of this post are faster and cheaper clinical trials finally here. As of February 19th, yesterday, U.S. FDA plans to drop its longtime standard of requiring 2 rigorous phase 3 studies to win approval for new hair loss or for new drugs in general. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary has co-authored a paper on this development that is titled "One Pivotal Trial: The New Default Option for FDA Approval, Ending the 2-Trial Dogma." This was suggested as early as 2024 by Trump team insiders and may finally come to fruition. Hopefully, this benefits a number of hair loss products that are currently in phase 3 trials in the U.S. And he's got a screenshot of Vivek Ramaswamy when he was with the administration saying, "My number one issue with the FDA is that it erects unnecessary barriers to innovation. For example, 2 replicate phase 3 studies instead of 1. And this next one's an important point. Refusal to accept valid clinical results from other nations, etc.
Yeah, that's
this stops
important.
patients from accessing promising therapies and raises prescription drug costs by impeding competition. The agency staff have callous disregard for the impact of their daily decisions on the cost of developing new therapies, which inevitably get passed on to the healthcare system. That's the actual problem with FDA, and it's the one thing we should be talking about more. And we all know it's you hair loss nerds looking for the cure that have pressured them to do this. Bravo.
Well, here's the thing. I think there's tremendous positives with that, especially with the second point that you brought up. But there's also the possibility that some drugs may be rushed through that are going to be potentially harmful. But, given the fact that they have to run these 2 identical trials, phase 3 from the same source, maybe not. And also, if they're going to elect to take a closer look or accept trials that were done in other countries, especially if the drug is being used, and it's been approved and is being used in their population, I think that could be of incredible benefit. It could fast track a lot of things.
Case in point, you look at Dutasteride for hair loss. It's approved by the Japanese equivalent of the FDA, as well as that in South Korea for fighting hair loss. They put it through trials, and drugs been around for over 20 years now. So why can't we integrate that into the decision-making process here?
And before, and that's a good point. Before we leave, the fact that Linkoff at one point was trying to charge $100,000 for the minimal amount of grafts that are moved during his average procedure?
That's the cost of a third phase trial.
Sweet. Listen, I am all for whatever the market will bear.
I'm trying to put those together because there was no segue back to Lincoln.
Whatever the market, I'm full. Whatever the market will bear, that's fine. But when this is so beyond the market and based on influence and a following, dude, that is when you have to look at these things and all of these physician influencers with a jaundiced eye. Period.
Yeah.
Give me a call, Gary. All right, guys, until next time. I'd love to take a phone call from him.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah.
Not even live. It doesn't have to be on the show. He can call the show anytime.
Okay,
That's
whatever.
great. He's always welcome to call the show. Anybody is. But just write me, call me, say, hey, listen, you know what? Maybe I was wrong, Spence. Maybe I misspoke. Maybe I shouldn't have said that publicly, which I don't really care about the public thing. I'm more concerned about the stuff and the nonsense that I was told he said behind the scenes about us. Not just about me, but about what we do.
Yeah.
Now, I don't talk behind anybody's back. That's the great thing about this little platform we have. I let him have it live.
We do it publicly. Yeah.
Okay, so until next time.
Sometimes some of those things offline, behind the scenes, could, in some circles, be construed as, I don't know, tortious interference. Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying. Anyway, go ahead.
This guy, first of all, this guy's got so many problems that I know that he deals with in his own personal life. All I can do is sit back and say, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
But I am starting a YouTube channel. I am going to promote my online shorts more and get a little bit more into it. So who knows? Who knows what can happen? I went from no followers basically to 162,000 followers now in it took less than a year. Who knows how fast that can grow if I really put some time into it. $100,000 for a procedure, including a hotel.
I've never heard that from anyone.
Even if the travel and the hotel's $10,000, still.
The balls on someone with that little time on tissue. If people are paying it, good for him. It's
fuck it.
You can't blame a guy.
No, I can't blame him. I just think it's
people
wild.
Pay it, then good for him.
Yeah, you can't hate on someone trying to make a living, but sometimes you have to kind of look at the industry, look at really what's happening in the field. What?
That's more than making a living.
Yeah. But look at the reality field. Understand these people are suffering. Understand that your skill set, even if you're the greatest doctor in the world, it's all still limited as far as how much you can really help these people. Don't take them to the cleaners. Leave them something else to have a life with. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you guys so much for listening. Take care.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid.